Welcome, everyone. I am your host, Money Making Mando at IG, with another episode of the Real Estate Deli, where we cut through all the noise and deliver actionable insights straight to you and make the information the star. Today, we have our guest, Tigger Huchel. I've been focusing on bringing women in real estate. I think it's such a male dominated industry, and sometimes we forget that there are people other than men in this industry. So I've been really intentional and focused to bring in all the ladies in real estate. Tigger, thank you for coming on.
Hey, it is my pleasure, and thank you for being patient with me on getting me here. What is this? Third time is the charm.
Yes,
So I
we've been.
appreciate you asking, and I'm excited to be here.
Thank you, Tigger. It has been a little journey. Like I said, I've been very persistent. I kind of, if I want to get to know you, I'm going to get to know you. And again, it's just being persistent and maybe a little bit of a pain in a good way, and making it feel like, oh, somebody really wants to do this. So that's just kind of my style. I just, I'm like a ram sometimes. I just, move forward until it happens, right? In a good way, not being a jerk and stuff like that. Yeah, exactly. So Tigger, let's get into your story. I know you're a connector. You're also a capital raiser. You're into corporate rentals, and you recently said you're starting your podcast, the Woo Woo Podcast. So let's get into some of the your wins, let's say, in your real estate journey.
Absolutely. So my original intent on getting into the industry was Airbnbs, right? So my husband he's a pharmaceutical sales job, and he does lawn care service on the side, and he basically is semi-retired. And so I was working also in the healthcare industry in the nursing home side of things, where I was a marketing director for assisted living and the senior living space. I was in that for about 2 years. Previous to that, I was in the Navy, and I was a diesel mechanic. And so, that was in my previous life before 5 kids, right? And
Wow.
so I started my career later in life, and that was basically all in sales, always involved in sales. And then the transportation industry, because it was just natural for me to go into the trucking transport industry, as diesel engines were very much, the biggest thing there. So I was slinging truck parts for years with a major national company. And I too got tired of just being in the men's industry, men's world of sales, and getting the leftover accounts and such. So my husband said, well, why don't you come into the healthcare industry? And I was like, sure, that'd be great. So I ended up into the senior living space because his mother is and was a nurse for 30 years and got into this space, and she had a business on the side. And she introduced me to a couple of people in the nursing home business, and I got hired. And I loved the idea of taking care of the seniors and providing that home for them, quickly realizing that it's not what it's cracked up to be, right? The intention you would think would be good, and but in the end you find out the real reason is monetary
Right.
based, due to the management companies, right? Finding out they don't really give a crap about human life. They don't care about their facilities. They don't care about their people that work there. So I knew that I couldn't stay there. It was almost like a toxin inside of me. It was a drudgery every single day that I went and tried to represent the company and to bring people into the facility. I could no longer do that. I could no longer bring someone's loved one into our facility where I knew these horrible things were going on. And this is after COVID, during COVID and after COVID. During or before COVID, the places were filled and staffing was great because it was a need, right? And everybody loved their jobs. Well, then COVID happened. People, more and more families were bringing their loved ones into home for at-home care, which took off huge. But anyway, long story short, that was my stint of that. I joined Pace's mentorship a month after joining the Women's in Real Estate group. I knew I wasn't getting fed there and saw one video of Pace and joined the sub 2 group. Immediately joined Gator right after that. To give you an idea, this was a couple of years ago, 2,500 people in sub 2, 700 in the Gator communities. Now there's over 14,000 and 10,000, right?
Yes.
So, and Pace was doing a lot more work or videos himself. So I ended up quitting last January from that job to do this full time.
Awesome.
So yeah, it it was my thought was, hey, I have 3 months worth of finances to back me up for our bills to offset the income, and thought, you know what, I'm going to get into this real estate, and this will just I'll make money, no problem. And then that didn't happen, right? But luckily enough, I have been able to rely on my husband for taking care of that side of things. And I was doing direct to agent for a while. That team didn't work out. They just didn't have their systems and processes like they said they would. I went from 150 people down to like maybe 12 by the end of the year last August. So yeah, it was a different stint. So I learned a lot, though. It wasn't all bad, right? Learned a ton.
Sure.
And then I found my way into the Gator community and trying to connect people to deals, and did that. I met this guy, Jason Zendigis. We call him Jay-Z. And him and I teamed up, and we started doing deal after deal. I made like 30 grand in, a matter of 3 months, right? Just connecting people. However, it was the end of November, beginning of December. We formulated a Zoom link to be able to come on and for us to talk about our wins. And we did that, and we had over like 250 responses to our post. And then Pace did a Zoom 18-minute a day challenge, and the day after, and I signed up to be a leader. And just things escalated from there. You're only supposed to have 10 people that joined your team. I ended up having like 100 people wanting to join our team.
Oh my God.
So I just stopped calling it a team and just formed the Facebook group called the Deal Connectors. And we just opened up about our wins, our losses, our experience, we have deals on the table, anybody interested in investing. So that's where I am, and still we do these go-giving Zooms where we help people who haven't taken action, who have been sitting behind the sidelines. So basically, we're just helping people take action. And then I met Reagan Sonnabend, who is my partner in the corporate rental space. And her and I have been working together since March. And we are excited to inform everybody on our journey that we are getting our government contracting license to be able to be temporary housing for the government in whatever form or fashion that may be. And we've hired a company to help us get that application process in a lot more streamlined process. We will be one of 19 people in the industry to be able to have the corporate rental temporary housing business for the government.
That sounds amazing. Let's get into that. What is actually the corporate housing, and why so many people are in that space, and what led you to that space?
So again, my intent was the Airbnb space. However, we know how the Airbnb space is right now, and it's not so good. People are losing all the time. People are selling off their properties, and Pace always says, don't go into the Airbnb. And I was like, oh crap, I ain't going into Airbnb. Pace says so. Not to mention, we all know what's going on.
Yes.
So Reagan has had her corporate rental business for a while. I think she's had it for about 5 years now. So she has the 3, 4, 5 bedroom space. And she came to me back in March before Squad Up Summit and said, hey, who do you know that would want to come in business with me and be my partner for the 1 and 2 bedroom space? She's like, we have these communities that people are investors and have vacant properties, I'm sure, sitting around that they could put into our database, and we could help them have be another platform and marketing tool for them to get their properties rented instead of sitting and losing money, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, hey, pick me. Like, I'm in sub 2, I'm in Gator, you're in Gator. We know Vina Jetty, Multi-Fi. the creative finance group, how many people are in there that own properties that are sitting vacant? How many people are multifamily that have properties sitting vacant, or units sitting vacant that they could get more vacancy or occupancy rate for their investors?
Sure.
So we would micro arbitrage these properties, and when we win these bids, we'll put them into these everybody else's investor properties, right? So yeah, we have been in the process of doing that. We are also FEMA registered. The coastal areas are not the only ones that have disasters. Disasters happen anywhere, whether it's flood, fire, tornadoes, whatever, hurricane, hail. And so we take on properties that would be storage facilities. We take properties that are RV park pads. We take mobile home parks. We take hotels, multifamily. And this journey is leading us into wanting to be buying, holding our own, so that these are our properties instead of micro arbitraging them. Okay. We'll provide furnished units or unfurnished units. And if it's an unfurnished unit, we'll put in all the furniture. We'll take on the utilities. We'll take on the Wi-Fi, everything to make that corporate rental stay just like home if they left home. So they have everything at their disposal, including dishes, towels, linens, everything. So that's the corporate rental side of things versus a temporary, like short-term rental Airbnb. We will take Airbnb properties because those in those areas have to be, of course, like a 30 or a 30-day stay at least in a lot of areas, right? So we'll take on that property to be at least 30 to 6 months of a stay. So that's where the corporate rental varies versus an Airbnb property.
Awesome. Let's educate our audience. You said micro arbitrage. Let's explain what micro arbitrage is, and then obviously you are sourcing these properties, and you obviously have a database, right, to implement all this information to. And then how is it that you reach out to the people who are needed, that need these places? Insurance companies,
insurance companies.
How
yes.
is it, explain how does all that work?
Sure. So basically, a micro arbitrage or an arbitrage is basically renting or subleasing a property from an owner that we are going to pay them X amount of dollars above and beyond a typical, regular long-term lease. And we're going to give them a little bit extra, right, to make more money. And we're going to place the parties into their property. All they have to do is sit back and collect their, however long we come in an agreement for. We may just say, hey, we have a need for 120 days. Is your property available? Yes. Or in the case where we have just actually worked with Duran, Duran?
Yes.
His property in Philadelphia, we are micro arbitraging that property. We have rented out the property ourselves for 6 months, and we are going to place a corporate rental stay in his property. He provided the furniture, and we are going to provide the personnel to stay there. And that does come from relocation services. It comes from sporting athletes that are, professionals or, AA, AAA, whatever. It also comes from insurance, like you said, disasters, like we talked about earlier, government, just anything of that nature. We are on these platforms where they send us bids for stays, and we have to do the bidding process. We do the research to see in our database if there's a property in the available area, or at least 20-minute radius, so to speak. And if it fits them, if they're asking for a 1-bedroom, we may give them a 2-bedroom at the same price or about the same price that they're looking for, right? So this is why it's important for anyone that's listening out here that has an investment property nationwide, put your properties into our database so that we can, at some point in time, we're not guaranteeing that you're going to get, space filled, but you have another avenue for free by putting it into our database, so that you can get your property rented out.
That's amazing. there's so many avenues that you can go down real estate that you wouldn't know unless, let's say, Reagan would have stepped up and said, "Hey, I'm looking for someone," right? And
Yes,
created something, and you were willing enough to say, "Hey, I'll do it," right? And
absolutely. I definitely see the opportunity.
right, and look where you're at now. And then you also mentioned that you do arbitrage, but now you're stepping into buying holds, right?
Yes.
So you want to guys, I guess, want to own some of these properties instead of arbitraging, right? Which I think is an amazing idea. And how's that coming along?
It's actually coming along really good. We just put in an LOI on a property that was at a former assisted living facility. It's 45 units,
Oh, wow.
and we're going to turn it into affordable housing or that middle space of a senior, maybe a senior lost their partner. They're living in this big house that they don't want to be in by themselves or can't maintain it. So this would be a perfect opportunity for a senior in transit in between going into an assisted living home versus being in a big, large home that they can't maintain themselves. So that's another avenue for affordable housing. Me being in the assisted living space knows that it can be like $5,000, $6,000 a month to be in these facilities, right? So if a person is physically able and mind, body able to live on their own, why not give them an opportunity like this? So this property also has a commercial kitchen. It also has the winged area that was for memory care, so it doesn't have any of the plumbing or electric in the room so that they can't hurt themselves, right? So we are going to provide a daycare space for that. Somebody will lease the daycare space from us inside this building. Any tenants that are in the building can bring their kids down to the end of the hallway for daycare, pick them back up after they return from work. Now, keep in mind there's a commercial kitchen. Someone can open up a business for being a deli or breakfast or lunch type of business or dinner, whatever suits them. Anybody that's looking to own their own restaurant or grill, we're going to allow leasing from that. And then there's also in the facilities, there is a salon. So there's already a salon in the building ready to go for that someone. If someone is in the building and is a hairstylist, they can just go down the hallway and go to work.
That's incredible. You're providing all these resources. It's you could take care of your kid and get your hair done, right?
For sure.
Which is awesome. Where's this place located at?
It's in Illinois.
Awesome. And you're local. Who would be the, let's say, the boots on the ground? Is there a lot of renovations needed, or how's the property?
So that's the other beauty of it. So this property isn't that old, and we are not going to upgrade or update any of the appliances or the countertops because we are talking about affordable housing and they're in perfect shape to be able to be move-in ready, right? The only thing that we have to worry about would be probably carpet or flooring if we're going to just do laminating of flooring. There's a few, we went and looked at the building and there's a few odds and ends that needs to be taken care of. There's a courtyard. So for the daycare, the kids can go in this fenced in courtyard. It's, the like 10-foot fence and it's all the way to the ground. So safety factor is there. But it has this nice little gazebo that people can go out and, hang out if they want to. And not to mention there are sitting rooms where these elderly used to go in, watch TVs or whatever. Well, families could reserve these rooms for parties or birthday parties or, whatever. So it's almost like a little city within their city.
That's incredible. Did you have to raise any capital for this, or what was the situation on that end?
Yep. So we're in the process right now. We're talking to the owner for a creative deal. And then we are, yes, also capital raising for that as well. And as inexpensive as you would think a building would be for something like this, I mean, we're talking probably we would end up borrowing like 1.75 million for the whole updating and getting everything ready to go. The purchase of it would be probably 1.4. So yeah, I mean.
And what's the occupancy in the building?
45 units.
Okay, yeah, and they're vacant or occupied?
Oh yeah, the whole thing is empty and it's been sitting for a while. It's been maintained. There's a maintenance guy that comes in all the time to make sure that the AC or the heat is working and all the things. But like I said, it just needs a little bit of cleanup and updating. There's an office in the beginning of the building for, of course, leasing, for somebody to be in the building to be leasing. So, you know, we may hire somebody to live on site to be that leasing agent. And yeah, like I said, it's pretty cool.
Those are awesome opportunities. That's incredible. And back to the data, right? On regards to how you implement it. Do you have a software company that does this? How does this work? That you gather all this information, or you building up, right? You building up this network of people across the country, whatever your region is. And how does that work, right? How does the system work, right?
Great question. And we are actually right now in the process of having a software company build to suit for us right now. We are a test beta for them. So they're, you know, figuring this out as well because they recognize the opportunity. And yeah, we're having them help us build this out as we speak.
Oh man, you're doing big things. All this is connecting. I see. You know, again, I just thought about this just by listening to you. Like, who sources, who gathers all this information, and how does it get implemented? You know, it kind of makes sense that you're doing that also on the back end. Again, these are all incredible opportunities you're doing. I'm glad that you spoke about it and you educated the audience on how this side of the business work. I kind of never heard of it. Let's say. It's all new to me. Like I said, that's always interesting to always bring on someone's perspective to see what gap are they filling in a specific space in this industry, which is so many. And other than that property, what are you looking forward to? What's next?
Looking to
this is a big one, you know? So this is the next, right?
Well, we're looking to acquire, you know, a bigger multifamily unit. And whether that is, you know, a 50 unit, 100 units, something to that effect, because obviously if we're arbitraging, we're not making the full amount that we could, right? So,
Yes.
And actually Jennifer Champion at Squat Up Summit said, you know, because we approached her like, hey, we have this idea. What do you think? And she's like, why are you coming to me for this? Why aren't you buying your own? We're like, oh, we really need to be buying our own. So that is our next steps as well. But we're obviously taking baby steps on the government side of things. We had Noble Crawford come on and give us some information on, you know, just consulting on getting that government contract and being able to move forward with that. He said, don't worry about not having all of the space, get the contract first and then go out and get it, right? So yeah, we're looking forward to that.
And how did this this opportunity land in your desk? How did you source this deal?
Oh, I had found it last year when I don't even know why or how, but I had found it last year and I just thought, man, this would be an awesome opportunity for, I even thought like student housing, but there's plenty of student housing in the area for Eastern Illinois down there. So for the college town. And, you know, the realtor was like, yeah, they have plenty of college places to stay. This is a need. We've been sitting in the community government meetings, and affordable housing and daycare is the top two that is needed in that area.
Wow. So you had this on your plate before you even connected with Reagan.
Before, yes.
This is incredible, right? How opportunities come and you see it and you have an idea, you say, man, this would be great for this, but you just don't do nothing with it, right? It just doesn't, you know, nothing happens, let's say. But that never died, right? That never died.
Never died. I held on to it.
And you bring it back to life and you say, maybe there's opportunity here that we can circle back and see if we can make, again, we were talking earlier, something out of nothing, right? And you looks like you have something in your hands, right?
And oddly enough, the realtor said this owner has turned down 3 or 4 other opportunities. One was going to be a drug rehab, and they were like, no, we don't want this in the area. 2 others were going to be assisted living, and they were going to be, no, we are not going to be competitors in our area because they have 2 other businesses as well.
Okay. So they were looking for a specific buyer, let's say, with something that wasn't going to be a competitive against their whatever else they're doing in the area.
They turned down, flat down.
Wow. And he yayed you guys, and
we're hoping we
Yeah.
actually turned it in the other day, about 3 days ago.
Oh man, that sounds like an incredible opportunity. Hopefully, it all turns right down your alley, and we can create an opportunity again, and to help so many, right, that are in need. These are people that are in need of these spaces. Wow. You also mentioned that you're doing a podcast, so you're trying to get active in that space as well. You want to reach a bigger audience, I'm assuming, right, to be in that space. And
Yeah.
what made you do that? What were your thinking when you said, you know what, let me create a podcast?
So I've actually always been into the mysticism, spirituality side of things, and what really hit it home was just the fact that there are so many synchronicities and paranormal things that go on inside a home. And in everyday life, we have intuition, and we can either choose to push it down, ignore it, or listen to that intuition to be able to make decisions in life, whether it's in the personal life, relationships, investing, real estate investing on top of it. Yeah, so I just knew that there was two pieces that we could put together, and I believe that I'll be able to, in the coming months, I will be able to formulate a an idea, or based on somebody's intuition or what they're looking to do, kind of create a formula on whether they should invest or should not invest into properties. Again, I've always been into the woo woo. I believe in, call me crazy, I don't care. I believe in aliens. I believe in Bigfoot, ghosts. Yeah, good spirits, bad spirits, the whole nine yards. I've experienced it many times throughout my life, and to discover that I'm actually psychic medium myself. And so I'm learning to hone in my abilities with that. Actually, in Montana, we did a little session,
Yes, we did.
and I did one the couple days before, and that one went really well. And
I heard.
I'll save that for my podcast to entice everybody. But yes, woo woo is basically a term for mysticism, spirituality, unseen things, but nothing. Sure, there can be bad and negative and positive sides of things, but my vision was to always want to be able to help people who have lost loved ones, to be able to talk to them across the veil, to give healing messages of love and hope. And I'll get there someday. Like I said, I'm in the baby stages and learning my skill and learning how to hone it in and how spirit will connect with me. But yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Yeah, I experienced it myself. I wasn't in the first session. We were in a retreat, a community real estate community retreat, and word of mouth we just started getting around a little bit. And I was hanging out with some ladies as I kind of always gravitate to the women, and they were very close to you as well, and they mentioned it early in the day, and I was super interested after that. And I made a point to stick around. I said, you know what, I will be there. I don't know when it's gonna happen, but I'm gonna stick around. And I just wanted to experience that again. I just wanted to be in that space to see what is it that because I heard great things about the one that was done earlier. I said, let's see again, and I will continue being present whenever we get together and able to feel that experience. And obviously that room that I was in was you like you said, it was a little more people than you usually are, so it was probably a different experience, right? That was in that energy in that room that night. And again, I can't wait to experience it again, right? Hopefully, it'll be soon, right? I have a Let's wrap this up. I have a segment I like to call the makings of a hero, right? What is it that do you want to do in the next 5, 10 years, 3 years, whatever your timetable is? What is like your Mount Everest? What is you want to accomplish in the real estate industry, and how you want to make a difference?
Sure. Obviously, to be able to provide that affordable housing or corporate rental type space for those who are in need at the time of need. And that will grow as years go by, especially with the government contract. But I just love helping people. And I think even in my spirituality, my woo woo and real estate podcast, I just know that this will be a starting point to what's to come even bigger, to be able to provide healing spaces for people those who need healing messages of love and hope. And yeah, just to be able to help anybody in their investing world as well.
Awesome. Tigger, thank you for coming on. Uh, I appreciate you. I'm looking forward to building our friendship. Like I said, I just think you're amazing. You like to share your social media where we can find you?
Sure. At sub two Tigger two, both Instagram and YouTube. And today I'll be starting off my first podcast.
That's awesome. We're looking forward to that. Thank you, Tigger.
Thank you, Mando.
We'll hope to connect with you soon and follow your journey. Thank you again. We appreciate you so much for coming on again.
Appreciate you. Thank you.
Bye bye.